Hey y'all, Jessie Petersen here with Let's Make Art. I teach art journaling and I love teaching about techniques and prompts and things that can inspire your art journaling in fun ways. And today I have a fun project for you. Things are a little different. For this video, we're doing a Lagniappe sort of video. And that just means that we're going to do a sort of walk through our journal. We're going to do one technique, and then we're going to do some question and answer sort of things. Keenan's here behind the camera with us. He's going to help just make sure everything is looking good for you and jump in with questions whenever. And he's also our art cheerleader, which I love.
Hype man.
Hype man, that's right. He likes hype man. Yeah. I always forget that. I just want to call him an art cheerleader, okay?
Yeah. I mean, either one's fun. They're both fun.
Okay, so we can jump into our project that we're going to start with for Lagniappe, which is, you know, a bonus, an extra something. It's a South Louisiana term that I like, so that's why I had this video. It's a crazy name. So glad you're here.
Seems like you've got a small storage space for all your journals. Like
I really stuffed this guy this time. This is our traveler's notebook, and you can fit a lot of
you want to bring it either to the center or hold it up?
Oh, yeah. It fits a lot.
I mean, that thing's packed.
And because it has these bands in it, you can fit small and large journals in it. I just love it.
Makes me think of a cowboy's wallet. You know those real long ones with the checkbook holder?
Yeah.
That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, I can picture just what you're saying. Yeah, so this is fabulous. It kind of keeps all my things together. And I like throwing my prompt cards in there and technique cards for the theme of the month that we're working in. It's really nice. And normally we use a prompt and a technique for our videos, but this Lagniappe video is just kind of a bonus. Like, you just never know what you're going to get with Lagniappe.
Booyah.
Okay, so we're working in this size journal this month, and this is the project we're going to start with. And then we'll do a little sneak flip through after that. Cool? So I'll set this, clip it. Now, we're just going to use most of the supplies that we got in the subscription box. If you don't have a subscription box, no big deal. You can use whatever supplies you got, and this can kind of just inspire you to do something a little different. But we're going to use some blush acrylic paint. This is in the box, this Dr. P.H. Martin's. I don't know that we're going to use that for this, but I might talk about it later, so it's in here. Some black watercolor. We got some gesso. I got my big tub of Yes paste, but we also like to work in these little smaller jars. I got a Posca pen, some extra brushes, an X-Acto knife, and whatnot here. So, whoop, here we go.
Good save.
Yeah, as long as it's not the X-Acto rolling off the table and trying to cut me, we're good.
Threaten you?
Yeah. I'm just gonna put a little paper towel here under my book, try to keep my space clean, and we can get started. All right, so I might need a little bit of water. I forgot my water.
I've got a jar here. I can get you some water.
That'd be awesome. Thank you,
You're
Keenan.
right back. You're welcome.
He's got me back on this.
It's a giant jar.
Okay, while you're doing that, I think there's like that paint water cup over there too. Whatever you want to do is fine. I'm going to dispense my paint while he's doing that. Got a little watercolor paint here. And this is just a little tiny bottle of watercolor. It's liquid watercolor, so that's kind of fun. But if you got the other kind, that is also just fine. And thank you, Keenan. That's Keenan's arm. Thanks. Giant jar. I love it. Is it casting a shadow on our stuff? Or are we good?
It looks great.
Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to get my brush wet. It's going to get the extra water off there. And I'm going to just get some watercolor on my brush. Now, I was thinking, like, what would be a fun texture in the background of this just to add to my art journaling experience. And I was kind of looking at this little owl and the way his feathers are, and I thought I kind of want to try out that as a texture, sort of abstract thing in the background. So that's what I did.
You bring that owl closer to the middle.
Like this?
Can you? Yeah, there you go.
Does that work?
That way we can see the whole thing. That's perfect.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at these little kind of half moon shapes and thinking about how they are on there. Now, I'm not trying to draw them exact or anything. I just thought, you know, that could be fun. Just have a little fun doing that in the background.
Nice, so it kind of ties it all together.
Yeah, and I think it's fun because you're just exploring looking at your animal with more more of a detailed attention. Does that make sense? So it's like, oh, I'm going to zoom in on this texture. So if you're not doing the owl and you're doing something else, you can think about if there's any repetitive patterns or textures that you can mimic in your artwork there. And I just love doing sort of repetitive things in my art journal because the art journal for me is therapeutic in some ways, like just like to chill and zone out, you know?
Yep. I love to zone out. It usually leads to a nap.
Yeah.
No, I like to do the repetitive marks as well. It's like you said, it's therapeutic. It's relaxing.
Yeah, and now I got a bigger loop and a smaller loop here. Can get messy with it. We're not trying to be precious. We're just having a good time here.
This also makes me think of chainmail.
Oh yeah. Gonna add a couple. I just want to be a little messy. Let's just, yeah, all right. Like, things are too perfect. I got to mess it up, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this on the other page. I always like to start left to right so I don't have my hand in paint. But sometimes I get excited and I forget. So if you did that, it's no big deal.
Might be left-handed.
Yeah, true. So whichever hand you need to start with is fine.
Owls for a long time were my favorite kind of bird.
Yeah? What?
Yep.
Did you see one in person? What inspired that?
So there are a lot of different kind of owls here in Missouri, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard them, but I don't know if I've seen any yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty ones.
I haven't lived in Missouri that long.
That's true.
Just over a year.
I was going to say, it was last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
My youngest daughter is 1.5 years, and she really identifies the owl whenever she sees an owl, and she does the little hoo hoo to let me know that she knows what it is.
That is cute.
And there's a little Disney cartoon on that it's called The Old Mill, that has an owl that gets all wet and shakes the water off, and she just gets so excited when she sees that. So we watched it several times. There's no words in it. It's just like all these little animals rushing around in a storm.
That's adorable.
It was pretty great. Okay, so got our first layer here, just having fun. Just gonna get some, just get in there, scrape it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just had no
Get
words
it in
come
there,
out.
scrape it up, get it messed up.
Yeah, it's like give it some texture, some fun, whatever. All right, next step for this, we're just gonna have fun with some gesso. And I kind of like seeing the highlight of the owl's feathers come the way the pattern is in his feathers. So I thought it'd be fun to come in with a little oval mop. This is an oval mop 1/2 inch. Get it wet. Some of that water off. I'm just gonna get my gesso out of my jar and put it here. And I'm just gonna come back and hit some of those little spots with some gesso. And my brush is a little dry, which is fun because you can get a little dry brush sort of technique out of there, or if you want it to be more smooth, then just get it more wet. And the more water you use with gesso, the more translucent it is. If you get less water, it gets a little thicker. Is that making sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense.
We've had some fun birds hanging out in our backyard lately, and it's been fun to guess what kinds they are. And
do you know what the Missouri state bird is?
I don't. Oh man, I feel bad. I live here and I don't know that.
I believe, if I remember correctly, and if it hasn't changed from when I was a teenager, it is the red-winged blackbird.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And it actually has red in the wings?
Yeah, it's like it's actually the shape. It almost looks like the shape of one of those loops you painted.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it's just a stark red contrast to the black of the bird. It's really cool.
Oh, so cool. That sounds awesome.
But now I have to double check. Oh, I forgot I had Googled what the pattern of your shirt was.
Oh, yeah? Another pattern. Good call.
Another pattern.
Well, you want to let them know what it is? I bet they would give them a minute to guess.
I will.
Because I bet people will know. Okay, you got your guess in your head? All right, now
I've got my guess. Okay,
All right.
so it is the snow leopard.
Yeah. So this is definitely something that you can do for backgrounds as an idea, is just identifying an animal pattern, since we're working with animals this month, and figuring out how to incorporate in your journal. So you could do like we're doing with the owl here, or you could do something like my snow leopard print.
Update on the Missouri state bird.
Yeah.
It has changed.
Really?
Yeah, it is the eastern bluebird.
All right.
Just a little guy.
Eastern bluebird. I'll have to look that up too. I don't think I know what that looks like. Now I want some places that are opaque just for contrast. So I'm going to add a little more paint. Whatever feels right for yours, you do that. And I want some kind of coming off the edge here. Yeah. That's feeling good. Maybe I need a little more right here. Okay, rinse my brush, because gesso's pretty tough on your brush, so you want to make sure you clean your brush, especially if you're not using one that's more gesso friendly with the thicker bristles. This is a good jar.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you for getting that for me.
It's the old glass jar.
So we gotta let this dry for a second, and while we're doing that, we can cut our owl. So I'll set that out of the way. Get my cutting mat. If you don't have a cutting mat, no big deal. You can cut on the back of a pizza box or the back of a sketchbook or whatever you got around. This one's pretty easy. You can even use scissors. His eyes are just so intense. I love it. Am I cutting in the right spot of the camera where they can see?
Yep.
And I like to cut towards me, so I like to turn the page so that it makes it easier for me to cut towards myself. I feel like that's the best angle for cutting.
In the scouting program, if you cut towards you, you would lose a corner off your totem chit.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with a knife, that's more dangerous, but when you're
That's true. That's
trying
true.
to, I don't know.
I lost a lot of corners. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so just like to see what this is looking like. Oh yeah, that's gonna be cute. Okay, this needs to dry a little bit longer, so that might take a few minutes. I'm gonna hit this up with a heat gun and we'll be right back. Okay, this is feeling dry. The one thing to know if your gesso is dry or not is it dries matte. This gesso anyway does. And so if it's not shiny anymore, that helps you to know that it is dry. Okay, so I think this is a good time to put our owl in. I'm using my big jar of Yes Paste today. Oh, I wasn't very diligent in cleaning the top when I closed it. Here we go.
Oh dear.
We did get some tips about that. One of the tips that I really liked was the Vaseline on the edges of the
Excellent
thing.
idea.
I haven't tried it yet, but I need to do it because I keep having this happen.
What about Pam?
Pam could
Just
work.
spray some Pam on there.
Yeah, because I think that's the reason I haven't tried it yet is I didn't have any Vaseline, but maybe I'll try some Pam. I like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna. Now, if you work with this big jar, it's less likely to dry out because there's so much of it in there. In the subscription box, you get these little jars, but if you're heavy into Yes Paste, this is a good amount of Yes Paste to be using. Keep you going for a while. Now, one of the questions I saw that we're going to answer that I'm thinking about now, so I'm just gonna answer it.
Go ahead. Which one? Who's it from?
Oh, it's about Yes Paste.
I have to find the Yes Paste color.
I might have highlighted it in yellow.
There's a lot of yellow.
Yeah, because those are all the miscellaneous questions that we had asked on Facebook group.
Let me check those then. Go ahead. You answer the question. I'll tell you who it was.
Okay, Yes Paste. If it's dried up, like what do you do kind of thing. And you can just add the little bit of water and put the lid back on. And then the next day it'll be all soft again because it's reconstitutable. Is that a word? It reconstitutes.
It is now.
Reconstitutable.
Reconstitutable.
I'm pretty sure that's not a word.
I think it is.
I like making stuff up. It's fun. Okay, got our owl on there. My hands are a little sticky, so I'm just gonna get them wet. Oh, this jar is hard to get my hands in. There we go. It's like, I usually use that wide mouth jar.
Wide mouth jar.
Yeah. Gonna get these ham hands in there. All right.
Ham hands? What is that?
I don't have ham
What's
hands.
a ham
I don't know where
hand?
that came from. All right, let's see. So the next step we can do is we can do the words. So I just like to use this mixed media paper out of one of my notebooks. This is it, the Vision Mixed Media. So I just ripped a paper out of there and I cut it a little strip, and I'm going to use my Posca pen to write some of the words that I liked from the owl. So some of the words for owl are wisdom, vision, intuition, insight, announcer of change. Any of those that appeal to you, you can do that. I'm gonna do these three that I have here. Insight. Am I in a good spot, Keenan?
I believe so. If you want the side cam on this handwriting, you're going to want to bring your head to the right, your right. There you go. Perfect. Well, and also the paper.
To the right?
To the right. There you go.
Okay.
That's it.
I kind of lost my flow in writing that, so I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Insight, vision, and intuition. All right, nothing too crazy, just writing it, you know. I'm gonna bring my cutting board back real quick so I can just cut that. I'm not gonna like measure or anything. I'm just gonna cut it. I like to write on it and then cut it just to get the spacing the way I like it, but you can do whatever you prefer. And then I might trim a little bit off the bottom here. I mean, you could use a ruler if you really want to, but I'm gonna paint around the edges, so that's okay. I got a little glue on my mat and my paper's sticking. There we go. I'm not worried about these being the same thickness or super straight. I think it's kind of fun for them to look a little wonky because wonky makes it look like it's handmade, and that's what I like.
That's true.
You snickering over
Yeah.
there? I'm a wonky.
I also like the handmade look.
Okay, just this guy's let go of my mat. That's what happens when you do glue on your mat and then you try to cut on your mat. Woo! Did you see that guy jump? My goodness.
But luckily, it's not hard to clean up that Yes Paste,
No,
correct?
it isn't. That is correct.
The old water-based paste.
Mm-hmm. Paste. Double paste.
A lot of aced and aced there.
Okay, so I used a little bit of this blush paint for the edges of this. I'm going to do that really quick. And then we did a little accent on the page as well. So we'll do that next. I'll move my Yes Paste around there for a minute. Get my brush wet. I'm just putting a little bit of water into the paint. And I'm just gonna hit the sides here. Just give it a little color, a little something. No, it's cute.
Olivia asked that question.
Olivia!
It wasn't highlighted. I had to find it.
I am so sorry.
It's so fine. It's okay.
Yeah, so, and I think some of our friends in the group jumped in and answered that, but I figure it's a common question. I should just answer it here on the video too. And I love that everybody jumps in and shares what they know and helps each other out. Because being a beginner at something like this or doing things you haven't done before is scary, and it's so much more fun to do it with our friends in a group. So thanks for that. Keep those comments coming, you know? Love it. Okay, so we got our words here. Those are cute. That worked out. I actually like this one better than the first one I did. All right, rinse my brush. I'm gonna let those dry for a second and we'll add the pink to our page. I keep moving my book around and I wanna make sure it's on the camera, so I'm gonna move that up. We should be good. All right. Yep. So I did a couple little pink dots here and here. And then I did a couple three.
Couple three.
That's something I heard a lot in Idaho. I spent some time in Idaho, and people like to say couple three. And I was like, I don't know what you mean by that. I also heard a guy say that he got a new outfit, and I was really surprised because he was kind of this cowboy who seemed like he was always kind of wearing something Carhartt, like the same sort of thing. And I was like, oh, you got a new outfit. All right. It turns out he's talking about a new truck. Like they call their trucks over there like an outfit or something like that. Because he drove truck, which was also like a thing I didn't hear, like drove truck or I drive truck.
Oh, yeah.
So funny how different places have different words that they use and meanings. Okay. Well, this pink paint is wet. I'm still going to just live on the edge. I'm going for this black accent next. I'm going to turn my journal. I'm going to I kind of just thought it was fun to just add a couple lines. And I connected my pink dots.
Kind of just frames it in, but
yeah,
it makes it so fun.
Okay, and then my favorite, because I like getting lost in the dots, is just adding some dot details. Now tell me if I can still get this on the side cam.
Move your head back. Yep.
Just using this Posca pen. I love my Posca pen. I feel like to have a black and white Posca pen in your art supplies for art journaling is kind of a must. To get those layered details in, you know?
I do know. Sort of. I sort of know.
Now, see. Okay. Oop. I touched that pink paint because it wasn't dry yet, but that's all right. Nothing bad happened. And even if it did, we would just make it into a good thing. We'll just improvise, you know? I'm going to show you some things I improvised in my journal when when I thought things went wrong. And then they turned into other cool things. So don't be precious. That's what we say around here. Just having a good time. Art journaling for me is just my me time. It's my time to think and process and dream, and I don't want to be stressed out when I'm art journaling, so just having fun.
Yeah. Gotta relax.
Oh, I'm liking that.
Me too.
And so I got a little bigger dot there, so you can go back in and do a couple bigger dots sprinkled throughout. And it'll look like we did it on purpose. It's improvising. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. And this turns out different every time I do it, because you know, when I do it the first time, I'm making it the first time, and then I'm demoing it, and then I think of, oh, I might want to do a little bit of this or that. All right, okay, I think these are dry enough. We can paste them in. I'm just gonna use this paper. Flip them. And we're gonna be done with this, and then we can move on to our questions. Okay, so yes, paste as usual. Just gonna put a good amount on there. Let me move this up so you can see it. And then just, it's almost like you put it on to scrape it away, kind of like icing a cake, because you just need a thin little bit. And if you don't have Yes Paste or you don't love this process, you can use a glue stick. But I like Yes Paste because it has a longer drying time. So if I stick it down and I don't like where it was, have a minute to change my mind. And I like having options to change my mind. You know?
I do know.
All right.
I don't know how else to answer that question.
I don't know why I said, you know, it's just, I mean, that's what I'm into today, all right? Okay, insight. Everybody has little verbal pauses. I've just been changing mine up.
Nice. That's smart.
Okay, insight. So I put those two in first so I could get this other one kind of centered in the middle. I did that. And there we go. We got our owl page. Rinse my hands. Ooh, it's hard to get my hand in here. This is a different. All right. But yeah, the Yes Paste just rinses off with water really nicely. Yay, look at that. You did it, and we had fun. All right. And if you wanted more white to pop, you could add more white, go back and forth, have fun with your layers. I kind of like it how it is.
Nice.
So we'll set
I
this
do too.
aside. Now we can do a little flip and question and answers next. Okay. What kind of questions we got, Keenan?
Okay, so I have numbered them via the color that you have organized them by, so that I can have an idea of the similar questions.
So I printed out the questions that were on our Facebook group, and if you're not familiar with that, we have a Facebook group called Let's Make Art Journals, and we opened up the little Q&A so people could ask questions and I can answer it on this Lagniappe video, and that is what he's looking at. He's looking at the screenshot with all the questions.
Which is wonderful. Okay, so these questions all concern vellum.
Oh yeah.
I will ask the first question. That's more of a statement, actually. Amy says, I'm also here for ideas with vellum. So different tips. Let's see. Let me find a really good. Oh, how about the very simplest of questions? Amber, no idea what vellum is or how to use it.
Okay, well, vellum is this type of paper that is included in this journal this month. It's a little see-through, kind of
Yeah.
looks like parchment paper almost.
Yeah, you put cookies on it. I've seen it.
You'll see it in wedding invitations a lot of times. Sometimes they have those sort of vellum envelopes where it's like, it's in one big envelope and then the fancy
yes.
invitation's inside that envelope and it's made of vellum and then you get kind of see through it. So it's just kind of a fun stationary paper.
Yeah, nice.
And that's
You
what
have-
it looks like.
You have examples of how you've used that,
Yeah.
right? You should totally show that one because
Okay.
it's super cool.
So let's do a flip through. I decorated the front of my journal. I haven't done that in a while, so I thought I would show that. And I did a little intro this time, which really was just me stealing the verbiage from the theme card about the animals. So I put that, animals have captivated imagination for centuries. Maybe deep down we know there is something special to be gained by our association because it's something we've known anciently. So I thought that was a fun way to start my journal. And then of course we have the strong bear. I'm gonna skip through some of these and come back. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. All right, here's my vellum page that I started. So you can see it says curious. And then that's all that's on that page. I just put curious on that one.
Nice.
Flip. We've got the cat. And I made like a little window. So I used this astronaut space suit and I just cut out the astronaut's face because I wanted a cat in space. And I thought this is a fun way to make a window with your vellum. So you can cover it all up and just have one portion of the page that you can see through like I've done here. You don't have to do an astronaut with a space cat. You can do whatever you want. I just thought that was fun. I also used my silver iridescent paint to kind of add little sparkle to the stars.
Nice.
And the little, like, I don't know, doodads on the spacesuit.
The doodads.
Yeah, you know, making up stuff today.
Yeah, no, I like the doodads.
And then I did some more embellishments with the cat page that you can't see because, you know, I made the window kind of thing. So that's a fun surprise, connection with healing. And then I did another pattern here and just put cat mom with our extra bonus letters, which I thought was fun.
Nice.
So vellum you can have a lot of fun with. You can make a window, you can make transparent details for the next page to show through. You can see this white right here shows through and almost kind of makes the cat like glowing a little bit.
Yeah.
Just have
Gives
fun.
it a nice little background. I like that.
Yeah. So that's what I did with vellum, and I had a good time with it. So I'm excited to see what y'all make. Right?
Nice. Yeah, that was good. That answered all the questions. Thank
Cool.
you. So number 2 question, I think we've asked before, but it is about the tackle box.
Oh, so I have a tackle box sort of art organization system, and I'm going to talk about that next month. It's Lagniappe, so tune in for that.
Perfect, because they want to see it.
Okay, well, I'll get it organized. I mean,
Okay.
it's already organized, but I'll get it where it's ready to
Nice.
show, and we'll plan on a Lagniappe about that.
Nice, that'll be great.
Since you're interested, we'll make that happen.
So let me see here. We've got other questions. Great questions. There are a lot of people, Michelle, Tanya, Joni, Jessica, they want to know what inspires you for themes and how you create your collage papers
Okay.
and just how you come up with those ideas.
Ideas come from all over the place. One thing that I had a good time doing this month was reading poetry. And this book, The Woman Who Fell from the Sky, is a book about Native American voices and storytelling and all kinds of things like that. And I really, really enjoyed reading that and thinking about that. I read a lot and I like to research. So I get really excited when I'm working on a new theme. I found lots of different books on animals and some of the symbolism behind animals and things like that, and thought a lot about how I wanted to incorporate those things. And what we're doing isn't limited to Native American things. Like, animals are cherished and loved in all different many cultures, but I definitely did look into that a little bit more when I was thinking about being more connected with them in that way. And each theme that I come up with, I'll think about a technique that I want to work on, and I'll think about a theme, and I'll try to pair those together. And sometimes they come together right away, and other times I have a technique but I don't quite have a theme, and it will develop. But mostly it's just playing in my own art journal, and if I'm having fun with it, then I know it's going to be something fun to teach. And so there was a question about theme, and then there's a question about collage paper, right? Like how I make it.
Yeah.
Well, I have a degree in graphic design as well as fine art, and so I learned in design school and throughout my career in graphic design how to use those programs and all of that. So I don't know that I could give you like a tutorial on how to, like where it would make sense in a small amount of time. But I do use graphic design programs for that. I also did a little bit of pattern and surface design in my career, and I've had a lot of fun designing those type of things. And I just think about the projects, and I think about what kind of fun elements would add to the experience, and then I design to that. So it's sort of a back and forth process. Well, I'll think of a concept and some techniques that I want to do. Then I'll design a little collage paper, test that out. If I like it, then I keep going with that design, and then I jump back in to the process. I don't know if that answered your question,
Nice.
but that's how I do it.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy designing the collage paper.
Okay, I'm going to hit some miscellaneous questions.
Oh, good. I like miscellaneous.
Actually, there's one more that's not it is kind of miscellaneous. But
Okay.
do you have any suggestions on different and more backgrounds?
Oh yeah, so that's something I wanted to talk about in the Lagniappe. So let's do a true flip through now. So here's the intro. Our strong bear that was a project. And then I kind of thought it would be fun to add on to the characteristics of strong. And since we're using watercolor paper, and I already had some watercolor paper on hand this size from the March box, I thought I'm just gonna use my watercolor and a small brush and do some writing on that. And so if you wanted to recreate that, you could just cut down some watercolor. And then I used the silver in the background, just some dots. So that's one simple background is dots, and you can change the scale like large or small, and that's just an easy go-to for me for dots. And then because I was thinking about animals and patterns, like we talked about the owl, I kind of looked at this turtle and thought, that's kind of a fun pattern. I think I'll try that with some line work.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so patterns from the animals and the theme were kind of something I was thinking about when I was doing that. I'll go ahead and finish the flip through, and then I'll answer other questions. So for this one, I realized that my pen bled through on my paper, and I think I saw a few people on the Facebook group talk about that. And this paper is thin. Because this art journal is different than the art journal that we normally work with that I helped develop, some of the paper is different. And so I put some gesso. I used this brush right here, and I got my gesso on there, and I just thinly brushed it until it strengthened the paper and some of that went away. And I did it on this one too because it was a thinner paper. And so you have a couple options here if you want to figure out how to not have thin paper in a journal like this, or any journal that you're wanting to work in that has thinner paper than what we normally do. You can add gesso. Another thing you can do, and I thought about this because I had this pink paper here and then I had this pink one there, and it was bothering me that those two were together. You can glue these two with Yes Paste together. It'll strengthen your paper. You won't have that bleed through, and that's one solution.
Excellent.
This is from the collage paper, and I thought it'd be fun to journal on. And in the vein of fixing things that went wrong, like I was saying, my width just, I don't know, it looked like an E at the end, so I just hit it with gesso, and then I just added a little touches of gesso on there to fix my mistake and keep on rolling with it.
That deer looks awesome.
I put a little bit of this.
Is that Bambi?
Yeah, it's Bambi.
Grown?
All grown up. I added some iridescent to the little deer spots on there because I just thought it was cute. I put a little gesso on the edges of that to make it look just smooth in and look a little more worn or something, so that's something you can try. This was our project we did with the wolf, dispelling our inner critic. This
Keith.
is a, what's that?
Keith.
Keith, that's right.
No joke, I went to McDonald's and a guy named Keith took my money. So it was really
like,
funny.
Don't be my inner critic. There are a lot of good Keiths out there. I actually have a really good friend of mine in Louisiana named Keith.
Yeah, see?
This swan page, which I loved making, and this was my connection with my Nana, so I wrote a little bit about that. These photo corners I just have left over from Heidi Swap. You can always, if you have or still scrapbook, there's always some supplies that you can steal from scrapbooking stuff or art journaling. And then we talked about the vellum. I actually wrote something here that I didn't love, and I covered it up with gesso, so you could do that. And then I thought, I haven't used those letters yet, I'm gonna do that. And then, right before I started filming, I thought, I could put a couple more dots up here, and that would be a paw print.
Yes.
This is another pattern that I just thought would be fun to add to the craft paper. Just simple, but, you know, and then I thought I could do another quote here. And then the scale of dots. So we have little tiny dots there where we have bigger dots there. So that's something you can think about. You can use the same pattern, just change the color or the scale.
Smart.
Does that give you some ideas?
Totally.
Okay. What else we got?
Okay. Let me look here. There are some other questions, I swear. Okay, so what about some miscellaneous questions?
I like it. All right.
Okay. How long, this is from Emily, how long have you been art journaling, and what other types of art do you enjoy?
Oh, that's a fun question, Emily. I've been art journaling in some form for years and years and years. I love a lot of different kinds of art. I think that's why I'm drawn to mixed media, because I've tried a lot of different things. I like to work really big, actually. I have this handmade paper. It's called Reeves BFK, and it comes in a roll, and I like to paint and draw on a 4-foot by 5-foot scale with a lot of these similar supplies, but on a really large scale, because I like the idea of getting like my whole body into it. So that's really fun for me. And a lot of the things that I explore in my art journal inform my larger work. And so I'll work out an idea in my art journal a few times, and then I'll go to that larger scale. And I'm a little more confident about it, and I have a lot of fun doing that. I like working on paper in general. So the larger paper is really fun, and then I like to do some smaller paper works. Every now and then I'll take paper and I'll collage it onto a canvas or a box that I've gessoed for that. But paper always ends up being a big part of my work. So, great question.
Nice, good question, Emily. There are a couple questions I think we should save for sourcing.
Okay.
For maybe another time.
Okay.
But Kimberly asks, I would love to explore alcohol ink. I haven't tried it yet. Is that something that we could learn?
I want to do that in a future box, so it might not be right away, but it's definitely something that's on the list for art journaling.
The old docket.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, then do you want to answer some personal questions?
Sure.
Okay, then I think that should be good.
Oh, I think there was one question in the very beginning.
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you thought about, this is from Emily, I believe, another Emily, yes, different Emily. Sorry. She said, have you thought about making past collage paper into a download?
Well, I think that we're looking at, that's a great question, and a lot of people were weighing in on that.
Yes.
And I think that we are looking into figuring out a way that we can make some of the past month boxes available in some way. It won't be the same as the way the subscriber gets it, but there may be some version there that we can work out where we can get some collage paper and some of those other items available for past boxes. So that's a great question, and we are working on it.
Perfect. So, with that answered, I will go to the personal questions. Okay. Kristen says, is your hair parted on the other side? My poor attempt at humor. Too much isolation for me. You have a very nice twinkly smile.
Oh, thanks so much. My hair parted on the, I mean, if the camera is reversed, then it is parted on the other side.
Like a
I don't
mirror
know
effect.
how that works.
It's on the
For
part
me,
on the left side.
it's parted. Yeah.
Going to the right.
Yeah. I like it. Isolation, man.
Yes.
We got a new sense of humor, don't we?
Gotta know these things. Kate wants to know what are your favorite snacks / foods?
Oh, there's so many.
I feel like that question should be reversed. What are your least favorite? Because that's a smaller list.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. Actually, I don't know.
No? Oh, I pretty much eat anything.
Yeah, there's not a lot of things that I won't eat, but I do have favorite things. I really like pairing yummy cheese with fruit. I like cheese platters. Like if I'm gonna like hang out for a late night at home, then I like some yummy cheeses and fruit and whatnot. I kind of lean towards more savory snacks and treats, but I do love dark chocolate, and I like pairing that with yummy things too. Keenan is shaking his head about the dark chocolate. I am sure there are dark chocolate lovers out there that will support me in this. And I don't just mess around with that grocery store dark chocolate business. I like one source being dark chocolate that has been roasted at a specific temperature to get those beautiful flavors coming to a place that it feels like it takes you to a destination when you eat it. That's the kind of dark chocolate I like. See, I got passionate about that.
Jesse, you deserve to be happy. You should enjoy good milk chocolate. So the last question, and this is actually one of my favorites. Kelly asks, what kind of crafts do you enjoy with your daughters?
Oh my gosh, we have so much fun together, and I don't really focus on like teaching them anything as much as I focus on like us just having a good time and having quality time together. And last week, I saved a bunch of toilet paper rolls because I thought we'll do a craft with it or whatever, and we just bent the top of it and made it look like owl ears because my youngest is obsessed with owls, and so we just made owls out of toilet paper like holders. So I sent it to Nicole actually because she's been working on that kids box, and I just thought I am so excited for more kids related content to play around with and have a good time with my kids. It's so much fun.
That's cool. Okay, that was it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us for our special episode of Lagniappe. I hope that this gives you some ideas to finish some of your pages that maybe you're stuck on, or new inspiration for something else that you've been thinking about. I just love doing this with you. I love our community. If you want to share your work, you can add it to our Facebook group, Let's Make Art Journals. If you want to share your content on Instagram where other people can discover what we're doing as a community, you can tag us there. You can use the hashtag Let's Make Art Journals. Thank you so much. And that's all I got for you for now. We'll see you next time.